Frack on. Welcome to another episode of Frack The Canon, where I am joined by the coolest mother frackers around. Here is the co-host with the most, Mr. CJ McCree from Milwaukee. How are you doing, sir?
What's up? I am grand.
Yes. So it is fortunate that it is what's the word I'm looking for right now? You know, it's freaking time. So it is fortuitous that I'm wearing this shirt today. Nerds with attitude. We have some beef to talk about, and by we I mean CJ. What is up, concern? Your face. Okay, so we got some beef to pick with someone with a specific Mr. Gunn. Not beef, but just out of expectations. Like, what are we talking about here, TJ?
Attitude from a nerd. That's what we got. No, all right.
Serendipitous. That was the word. Sorry, it was bugging me. Serendipitous. It was serendipitous. I'm so sorry. Back to you, CJ. Sorry.
Sure. No. Okay. So, listen. The topic of the discussion: James Gunn led DC. How we feel about it? I feel mixed about it. One of the first announcements was that Henry Cavill was axed. I have for a while, and I don't know if I said this on the show. For a while, when we talk about this subject, I would say that I was a big fan of Henry Cavill. See him come back for a second Man of Steel movie. I want to see him come back in a Superman movie that is properly made, you know what I mean? Because I think he's a good Superman. But I've also said if I was the one doing it, I would have nixed everything about this, I guess you can call it the Snyderverse, right? I would have nixed everything about that verse. Even though I would want to see Henry Cavill back, you know what I mean? I want to see Gal Gadot back. I want to see all of them back. I think they did a good job. But change that, you know what I mean? But it wasn't until it happened. It wasn't until he actually got fired, you know what I mean, that it did, it hit me, in the heart. No, dude, no, don't bring him. Even though it's I understand why. Because I totally would do it. If they put me in charge of DC, that's what I would have did. I would have, all right, buy everybody. Buy everybody. Buy everybody. Let's start anew, you know what I mean? But, not seeing it in practice, it hurts, man. It hurts. Henry Cavill's a person. I'm a person who has fandom, you know what I mean? How dare you ignore me, James Gunn? No.
You'll see this on Twitter.
That being said, how do you feel about that?
So here's the thing. I remember coming out of Man of Steel being like, oh, that was. I remember coming out. I'm like, I'm confused by this movie because I like what I saw, but that's not Superman. That's not Superman I know. But I felt bad because I knew dude was a nerd like us. He's one of us, only better looking and in shape. But I remember being like, okay, that's cool. All right, whatever. I felt sad because he only got one go as Superman, and it was a Superman that I felt he didn't enjoy playing. He did it because I'm playing Superman, but another one I want to play, if that makes sense. And that's me, my inferring on me, whatever, transplanting onto him. Whatever that word is again. I'm forgetting words today. And then I just I never liked the Snyderverse. I always hated it. I remember when I saw the Snyder cut, I'm like, this is it. It's a longer version of the Joss Whedon cut. So I probably would have. I would have kept the same people. But all right, you know what? This happened. All right, fuck it. Let's just ride along. We messed up. Here let's course correct. Let's bring these people in. Give them a break. Or I would probably give them a break and done what they're doing now, bringing in Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Batgirl. The third list, the deal like Marvel did. I would have sold for Marvel playbook. Be like, let's play from the D list and the C list, and then bring in the heavy hitters. But now I'm also a little bit scared too. I'm maybe not scared, but I don't know what I want to feel just because he's written for Marvel, and I've enjoyed what he's done for Marvel in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't need to see them again. Where I can't say that with Iron Man, other movies. You know what I mean? I personally, I see them and I'm done with the movies. I've only seen that with all the movies. So with Super, I've also seen it once. I'm like, oh, it's a good movie. I don't need to see it again. I don't like my movies to be rewatchable. So I'm like, all right, that's another. And I was thinking about that as I'm speaking. I'm like, okay, well, this is what movies that I've seen him do, what he's been involved with. I'm like, right on. Okay, yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense.
You are not. I don't exactly feel the same way because the first Guardians was actually a movie and I haven't done it in a couple years, but it was a movie that I would actually watch at least annually because I enjoy that movie a whole lot. It's probably the James Gunn movie that it's probably the only James Gunn movie that I feel that way about though. Because see, I'm more hesitant. Like I like how James Gunn approaches the stuff. You know, I like how he approaches the stuff, but I don't have complete confidence in James Gunn. As I think he's a decent storyteller. I think if he is coming to it with the ground up own idea, you're gonna get a decent thing. Um, but I don't think James Gunn, who is now the head of this, is somebody who, I think, like I said, I think he's a good storyteller, but I don't think he's somebody who deserves unsupervised control over a thing. um, you know, I think unfiltered James Gunn is something that is very hit and miss for me, and
Mhm.
I think the best example of that is Suicide Squad, or is it he's the okay, yeah, it's the Suicide Squad.
Whichever one has sorrow in it, which I'm like, that is a genius move. I will
Yeah,
give him that. I'm like, you
exactly,
brought
right?
his
But there are things that I love a lot of that movie. I love a whole lot of that movie, but I don't love that movie. Um,
yeah. I
yeah, I
wait.
mean, yeah, like I love a whole lot of that movie, and there are a lot of things I really like about it too. Uh, yeah, I don't love that movie, and it's like there are times and there are instances in that movie where I'm like, like they gave him the deal where he didn't have to be supervised on this. That was his whole shtick with this movie. That's whole why they got him and how they got him and pulled him in. So it's like, but there are things that they should have. You know what I mean? Like there are things about that movie, like you should have been reined in a bit on that. You know what I mean? Like you should have been reined in about it. It's so James Gunn. It's such a James Gunn movie. You know what I mean? And that's for better and worse. I feel like. So that gives me pause when it comes to like, oh, this guy is in control of this entire comic book franchise now moving forward. Um, like you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. Like my only like good thing to that is that like I'm saying the side that I have on that is that he's not personally directing all of them. It's like okay, he's in charge of the roadmap. So if they're doing it like Marvel, then the director who's doing it is in control of each thing, and he's
and
just kind of like, this is and it's like maybe I can trust him that far, you
and I
know.
and I think that's the benefit of for him is that he's done both Marvel and DC, so he's kind of like jumping back and forth. So I'm like, okay, that's good for I feel fans that he knows what Marvel's doing, so he goes or has kind of a insight of how Marvel does it to have a better. I guess just do it help DC do the same thing, kind of just it's just weird, dude. Because DC announces stuff, and that's the thing is that they announce stuff and then take it away. They announce stuff and take it away. How long ago did they announce Black Adam? 2007, 2008. It took us this long to get it. I'm like, and so I'm like, it's just like at least is that I don't know if it's a DC thing or a Warner Brothers thing, but I'm like,
And part of me on that is like, well, how long until this news is old news, right? Like how long until like the fact that James Gunn is running this is like obsolete news, you know what I mean? Like because we've heard so much over the last decade about DC and
I mean,
their properties, and and they've changed hands. You know what I mean? Like WB has,
Jeff
and each
Johns,
person who
Jeff Johns, the writer of the comic books and the TV shows was pulled off. I'm like, dude, so it feels like, yeah, like it feels more like a studio thing. From what
Mhm.
little I knew in studios just from film school was like, all right, it feels like we want our money back now, and you're not making money. I'm like, well, you need to let it. Like the whole Batgirl thing too. I'm still mad about that too, and that's not a James Gunn thing, but I'm offended about it right here. I'm so mad that they're keeping Ezra Miller around, but they got rid of Batgirl.
If you're gonna get rid of Henry Cavill, like, there's no reason that you need to keep Ezra Miller. I mean, we're getting rid of Gal Gadot. We're getting rid of what's her name? The director of that Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting rid of Gal Gadot. Patty Jenkins ain't attached no more. You know what I mean? Like, to Wonder Woman, it's like you're cleaning. And that's the sad thing, is that even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the Snyderverse, there were good singular movies in those. Yeah, you know what I mean?
So that's something too. Let's talk about that too, because Aquaman, I enjoyed Aquaman. I had fun with Aquaman, and then I like Jason Momoa. Okay, this is a different version of Aquaman. I'll take it. Like, no, you're gone too. You're Lobo now. I'm like, yeah, he looks like Lobo, but he was a good Aquaman. Like, can we stick to that? Yeah,
he was a good Aquaman. And he approached Aquaman in a way that made me even want to care.
Exactly. Yes.
But I guess he's also wouldn't be what I would think of if I, when I think of classic Aquaman, or what Aquaman is supposed to be. I wouldn't necessarily think of the character that Jason Momoa was, but whatever. I thought the movie was very enjoyable. I think the Suicide Squad isn't going to change. I think. I think that they'll still be in universe and in canon. I think Margot Robbie is still going to be Harley Quinn. I think. What's that? I can't think of her name, but she does great. But the Amanda Waller, I think she's still going to be Amanda Waller.
Oh, Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. Yep.
Yeah, because she's fucking awesome.
Yeah, like I think this James Gunn stuff that he started, I think is gonna still be around.
I wonder why.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think they might even use the Suicide Squad as the jumping off point. You know what I mean, for the universe.
Which, I mean, kind of makes sense too if you think about it. But I remember we talked about this. We did a main thing before. I'm a Marvel fan, but I grew up with DC as a kid. So I grew up. I started with DC, graduated to Marvel. But at the end of the day, I'm a comic book superhero fan, and I'm just like, I want some good DC movies. You know what I mean? Like, the last good DC movie that I enjoyed was The Dark Knight, and that was 2008. I was but a wee lad back then. I was 22. Now I'll be 37.
I'm 37.
Oh.
In a row.
I'm not used to that clip.
But no, I feel you, and I agree. Like, I think it took them too long. Like, WB sat on this franchise forever, and we never got any of the heroes, you know what I mean, movies made, or different properties made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of that. Like, I'm everyone's starving for it. You know what I mean? Like, get a Flash movie, like, please, and not the one I'm gonna get, not the one I'm getting.
that just pisses me off to no end. I'm like, dude, like, you get rid of, like, the Latina Batgirl. Like Kevin Smith said it too. Like, it's a bad look when you cancel the Latina Batgirl, but you keep this dude who's done some pretty bad stuff. And you're gonna keep moving him forward. I'm like, that's some BS. What does he have on you guys?
Right, exactly. My gosh, some pictures. But yeah, no, agreed. I don't know, but some part of me feels like, well, whatever we're about to get has got to be better than what we have been getting. Like, you know what I mean? There's that one part that's like, well, I've enjoyed some stuff, but there's the other part of me that's like, well, whatever we're about to get, it's a cohesive vision, bound to be better than what we've gotten before. You know? So,
I mean, I like the changes they made so far. I'm like, I've had this Aquaman, this dude for. When did Man of Steel came out 10 years ago? Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice came out 2015, 2016.
somewhere around there.
So
Yeah,
like around 8 years, maybe 6, 8 years. I can't do math right now. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, because they always go back to also. They always even themselves. They go back to when Joss Whedon took over Justice League. They used the Batman theme song from Danny Elfman. They used the Superman theme from John Williams. I'm like, you guys keep going back. And as much as I hated the Snyderverse, I appreciate that he was putting his own touches. Like, let's get a new theme. Let's get a new theme. And fair enough. Like, my theme will always be John Williams' Superman theme, Danny Williams, Danny Elfman's Batman theme. But they have we have their own themes. Like the Christian Bale Batman, it's all right. The theme. It's all right. Not great. School runnings.
it's cool running. But it's like, I don't know, like it just feels like they're kind of riding coattails when they do that. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not your popularity. Like you're kind of trying to trick me into nostalgia by including this. You know what I mean? And like, so now I feel you're judging at feelings of how I feel about that Batman. You know what I mean? And trying to apply them to this other character that I'm just meeting, you know what I mean? Or that I don't have the same feelings about. And so it's like, I'll always prefer them to go. I think it's cool when they nod to stuff like that because you can do that. And if you know, kind of a thing, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, great, cool. What a nice little nod there. But it's like, I almost feel like it's cheating too. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but that's not that Superman. You know what I mean? So like, you're really kind of like, you're trying to play on my heartstrings here and make me feel like I felt about that Superman, you know what I mean? But that's not Christopher Reeves that I'm looking at there. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is not the movie that Christopher Reeves is in that I'm watching right now, you know? But you know, beyond that, the only thing that we know so far is, so, you know, steering back to James Gunn, the only thing we know so far is he wants to do a young Superman movie.
Oh, I'm like, okay, I guess, but I mean, we got Smallville. We got the way I inferred from it was it's Superman Year One. Well, it's going to focus on the Clark Kent side, not the Superman thing. Which I don't want to see a Superman movie about Clark Kent. I want to see Superman.
I mean, technically, that was Man of Steel, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
right, like because he wasn't freaking Superman in any capacity in that movie. No one called him Superman. He wasn't really Superman. The S on his chest, but that was like his dad's old outfit or something, or his family's old outfit.
That was his family like, symbol or whatever.
Right, you know what I mean? Like
crest, the family crest.
Right. And he was just Clark Kent like the whole time and like trying to find his way in his life and what have you, you know, partially why they called it Man of Steel. But that's what that was. Here's a Superman movie about Clark Kent. You know what I mean? Yeah, that Man of Steel was that. Like, so how is this gonna be different? Like, and what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? Is it gonna be like the Batman with Superman? You know what I mean? Like,
what they should do is go into the archives, grab Kevin Smith's script, and do that one.
What, with the big spider?
Yeah. Therapy. I mean, let's just see. Why don't we just see Superman End of Days? I mean, maybe Old Man Superman, I guess. Like, you know, but
it'd be interesting. Or like Kingdom Come or something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Kingdom Come, son. Let's do that.
I'd love to see Kingdom Come. I hope that they actually, because he, you know, he's been saying a few things. James Gunn has been saying a few things, and one of the things he said, he pointed to Justice League Unlimited, as some inspiration. And Justice League Unlimited, the first season of that as a whole, is actually a version of Kingdom Come, and I really like that. Like, and so it's like, but that informs me in a way where it's like, oh man, like if he's calling that as if he's calling that out as like inspiration, I wonder if he is going to do like a version of Kingdom Come. That was a version of it. It wasn't it verbatim. It was a version of it. But yeah, I'd love to see Kingdom Come done with this, and I feel like, you know, if you're going to give us a rich DC universe, you can do something like that. But you know, we're supposed to, we're here, we're halfway through January, and he was claiming that as part of the year we're going to get some kind of slate as far as what DC is going to be pumping out.
Yeah. I have nothing else. I'm all ranted out.
As am I, sir.
Oh, well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for nerding with me. We'll see you same freaking time, same freaking channel. Frack off.